So the first thing we're going to want to do before we actually start rigging our mouth angles is we're going to want to look at how a mouth is shaped. If you look at your upper and bottom jaw, they are two horseshoes that are lined up. Back of the bottom jaw is hinged to the back of the top jaw, so it will move up and down on a hinge, kind of like you'd make a weird V between the two. But this also means that when we look from side to side, our horseshoe shapes change, and certain parts of the mouth will show up in front of other components, and other components will be hidden behind them. We're gonna have to keep that into consideration when we start actually rigging our head angles. So as you can see, when we first, the way we have it set up is currently the mouth doesn't move. So we're gonna start by compartmentalizing our components. What we're gonna do is we're gonna select everything from the outside of the mouth, including the warp deformer we made for our mouth shrug. So everything inside that warp deformer, we're gonna put them all into a new warp deformer called outer mouth. This is what we're gonna use for our angle X inputs. So we're gonna scroll on down to our angle X physics parameters that we had made last time. If you don't have the physics because you have a limited parameter numbers, you're just gonna put this in your angle X that you have. And as you can see, the mouth still doesn't move because we're gonna have to move them into place. So now we're gonna start moving our mouth into positions where we would like them to be approximately. As you can see, I'm roughly putting them where I would like it to be. As you can see, the other side isn't there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go and reflect it onto the other side like we've done before, reflect motion. And now we are going to actually start warping the mouth on how it would look in real life. As I said, remember that we are like a horseshoe type shaped jaw, so the middle of your lips will always be the most forward component, and whatever side you're looking to, that side will be squished more. We're gonna also clip our upper and lower lips to our head base. So we're gonna grab our head base clipping ID and we're gonna put that into the clipping IDs of the upper mouth lip and the lower mouth lip. And now that we have our clipping all done, we are going to take our brush tool and we're gonna warp the mesh so we can see the headline underneath. You can also bring your headline's draw order up in front of everything, but if you do this, just remember that you're going to have to adjust the draw order of your eyelashes, and your components are still supposed to be in front of the headline. I'm just doing it this way because it's like very user friendly and beginner friendly. Now I'm just adjusting things into positions so it can look the way I would like it to look. Once I've done this, I'm just going to reflect the motion onto the other side. And as you can see, the mouth is now the same on both sides. Now we're just going to repeat the same sort of thing that we did with the X with the Y positions. Looking upwards, we're just going to adjust it to where we would like it to sit on the face up, and we're going to do the same when we look down. While we're looking down, we're going to have to remember that face angles will dictate that the mouth shape is going to be a bit more squished, so we're going to squish it and then adjust it into position so we can see the headlines and in a way that would be accurate to how a head shape would look when we're looking downwards. Now we're entering the more difficult part of the mouth angles. We're going to have to start doing our corners. And for these corners, we're going to first want to link both our angle X and our angle Y so we can figure out where our corners are. And from there, we're going to start moving our mouth positions where we would like them to be. Just remember, when we did our head angles for our corners, we tilted the head slightly down. So you're going to have to do the same with the mouth angles. And you're going to want to move things and adjust them to where you would like them to be. Do some squishing when looking down. Everything we've done before, we're just doing the exact same things. But you're going to have to take your time because you can't reflect these motions. You're going to have to do each and every single corner separately. Now it's time to start working on the inner mouth. What we're gonna do is actually grab the back of the mouth and we're gonna make a warp deformer for the back of the mouth. And now we're gonna start moving our warp deformer of our back of the mouth into the angles of the angle X. We're doing the exact same thing that we did earlier. We're just trying to make it so the back of the mouth is hidden and we don't see it. And we're also gonna be now experimenting into opening the mouth. A lot of this is just adjusting and readjusting according to where things need to be. It can be a little bit of a pain, but just adjusting things where they want to go. So I'm adjusting the outer mouth so that it looks good open and looks good closed now. So we're just going to repeat the exact same things on the other side that we did previously. So now we're going to get into rigging the teeth or the inner components of the mouth. I'm going to grab all the components from the upper mouth, the front teeth, and my 2 molar sets that I have. I'm going to add them to my angle X, and I'm going to rough them into position in accordance to where they should go. In a little bit, I will add the art meshes to them. All I'm doing is adding a standard meshes to the molar sections so I can move them into position because we don't really adjust them too much in terms of warping them. And for the front teeth, I'm going to add a specific, specially made mesh where I will cover it a little bit. Now that we're drawing the mesh for the front teeth, all I'm really doing to making sure that I can adjust it properly is I'm tracing where teeth would go. As you can see, I have very defined canine teeth, so I'm taking those canine teeth and I'm tracing them out, and then I'm tracing the side molars that are on either side, so when I move them, I can adjust them according. I'm not going to fill in this mesh, I'm going to leave it just with these components, so when I grab these certain vertices, it's easier for me to work and adjust how they should look. Now we're going to be doing the exact same thing with the bottom teeth, except we're going to be doing it a little differently. As you can see, the bottom jaw or the bottom teeth are already connected to the jaw open or mouth form, mouth open parameters. So we're gonna have to do this a little differently. So grab your bottom teeth and you're gonna add the 3 parameters to your angle X. And now we're just going to adjust it into position where we think it fits. Of course, you're gonna have to warp stuff. So I like to use the temporary deform warp to get some things roughed into place, and then I'll go in and adjust them individually. So now that we have it roughed into where we would like it to go, what we're gonna do is we're going to copy the position of the parameter that we had made, and we're gonna go over to all the other parameters that it has in the open mouth form section, and we're just gonna Control V them into space. So we're gonna place that shape into the place. Now what we're gonna do is the mouth close section. We have to do this for this part as well. We're gonna select all the components, select solo, and then we're just going to move it into position and adjust it according to where it should land. Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to copy paste that parameter's keyframe, and we're going to put in the other mouth closed keyframes. Now, unlike what we did with the bottom front teeth, we're actually going to make warp deformers for the bottom molars. We're going to make the warp deformer because we don't really need to worry so much about like the positioning being exactly the same for them, so we're going to just make our lives a little easier. We're going to add those into our angle X, and we're going to adjust the bottom molars into position where we'd like them to go. You can select the specific spots or vertices on the warp deformer that you want to move that contain the bottom molar, and then just adjust those into position. We repeat the exact same steps with the other bottom molars. Now let's move on to the tongue. We're going to create a warp deformer for the tongue as well. We're going to name it tongue. And we're going to add this to our angle X. We want to increase the number of divisions, so increase those to whatever. I like to put 20-20 or 30-30. I like more divisions in my warp deformer. If you get the notification, don't worry about it. But it just allows me to adjust things and not have to worry so much about sharp edges and things becoming polygonal. So now we're going to move our tongue into place, and we're going to start warping and squishing and adjusting it to where it should go. As I said before, remember your mouth is much more like a cave, so the back of the tongue should move farther back. So as you can see, I'm laying it out and making it look flat. I will then go in and adjust it so I can give the tongue more volume of a shape, but we want it to look as though the tongue is fading into the back of the mouth. And now we are just going to reflect and repeat the exact same motions, adjusting everything into place as to where we need it. There is one last thing you're going to have to adjust when it comes to the tongue. When you're going to have to add it into the 4 corners of the mouth open mouth form parameter again. All you're going to really do is when the mouth is closed, you're just going to take your warp deformer and slide it over slightly so that the tongue sits inside where the mouth closed would sit. And as you can probably all imagine, we're doing the exact same things with the angle Y. So we're gonna grab everything from our bottom jaw and we're gonna start moving stuff up and down according to where they should sit on the angle Y. Alright, final stretch now. Let's speed run this. You guys can probably imagine we're going to be repeating the exact same things for the corners. If you followed along so far, you should have all of the warp deformers and everything all set up. You're just going to be going into each of the corners and you're just going to be moving them where they need to go. And congratulations! You have finally finished rigging your VTuber's head. Now all you gotta do is export it and bring it into VTube Studio and calibrate all the components on your face so it tracks very nicely. That's another day, another video. But I hope you guys all enjoyed my introductory video tutorial on Head-Kun on how to rig your heads for your VTuber models, and I hope you guys look forward to future videos. Bye!